Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope everyone is doing well. So I'm just on the way to work, and I think my neighbor just looked at me like I'm a weirdo with the camera on the windshield. But anyways, yeah, so just on the way to work right now, and I'm going to kind of talk to you guys about kind of luxury versus sports cars and what I kind of look for in each one. So as I was saying, today's video I'm kind of gonna talk about sports cars versus luxury cars and kind of my thoughts on it. And hopefully you guys can't hear I got coffee cups in my lunchbox, so hopefully they're not making too much noise. But yeah, so luxury versus sports cars. So currently in my dad's Hyundai Equus, which I guess is considered a sports car. I mean, it looks like a sports car, and I'm sure, I believe it's the highest kind of Hyundai you can buy. So and then obviously comparing this thing to my car, which is the 05 GTO, that would be considered, I guess they call it like a sports kind of grand touring, I guess. But in my opinion, I'd call it more of a sports car than anything with all the power. But yeah, so things I like about like my car, especially because it's on coilovers and everything like that. I mean, you definitely feel everything in the road a lot more, and with that, like, the steering's a little more direct when you're kind of driving a little quicker in corners. Another thing, I guess people kind of look, I mean, if you're looking or talking like when people are kind of looking at cars, I mean, sure, people look at luxury cars all the time, like C-Class Mercedes and S-Classes like that, and like all the AMGs and stuff. But with like sports cars, you definitely get a lot more attention in them, and people notice them more, especially because more sports cars have, because they have like exhaust on them more than likely. Usually the sports cars have superchargers and pro chargers, superchargers, or turbos, and you know, luxury cars tend to stay stock most of the time, which, I mean, good thing that they do, because there's a majority of these luxury cars don't really need, they weren't really made for, I mean, gaining power. They're just made to be nice cruising cars, and you know, like a relaxing kind of cruise, like a relaxing car to drive in. You don't hop in one of these and kind of think that you're gonna just start driving like a maniac, because I mean, you feel like it. 'Cause you hop in one of these cars because you want to kind of relax, have an easy drive, and just, man, those cups are gonna annoy me. But you kind of hop in these cars to relax. You don't want to try when you're driving. You just kind of want to sit back and kind of let the car do what it's gonna want to do. Yeah, another thing with these luxury cars, more than likely most of them have a little nicer seats. Like this one has like leather seats, although my car, the GTO, has leather seats as well. But I mean, they're not really, usually don't come with cloth seats or anything like that, where most of these, you know, definitely have leather, and it's appealing. It's kind of jumping back to sports cars, like the direct steering feel I definitely like. And you know, you know, if anything kind of doesn't feel right, or especially when you're on like coils and stuff, if anything doesn't feel right, you definitely notice it right away. You definitely feel everything. Well, like I said, I'm talking about coils, but I'm sure sports cars on bags, I think I've only ridden in a few cars that were on bags. I mean, you definitely feel stuff like in the car with that as well. I don't think you feel as much as you do with coils, because usually when you're on coils you have, I mean, it's more stiff than like bags, because a bag's going to be maintaining a ride height while also kind of making it going to maintain the ride height while also keeping the car, how do I say this? So it's going to keep the car at a certain level, but it's not like coilovers where you're pretty much stuck to one ride height, in a sense, where, you know, I mean, bags can definitely be for show and stuff like that, and, you know, some people who do have bags, they do ride low, and kudos to you if you do. But I think the coils in my aspect, but it's just a terrible ramble. But anyways, so another thing with kind of like sports cars, you definitely have the option to be able to, like sports cars, I feel like there's sometimes, like, especially when people kind of know what kind of car you're in and stuff, they kind of want to race you and stuff. Like, there was like last week I was on the highway and just some random Camaro just rolls up to me and just lines up with me, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? I'm not trying to race, I'm just trying to get home. I don't mind it, but I also don't like it, because I'm just trying to cruise. More than likely in my car, if I'm driving, I just want to cruise and have a good time and not worry about anything. And then when I'm cruising in like this thing, same thing, I just want to cruise, not really care, just have an easy time, listen to good music, and kind of jam out and just have a relaxing time. I mean, the same thing with my car, but I mean, in my car, you know, it's a little bit more, I guess you could say stiff. It's a little more stiff, but also I like that it's stiff, because, you know, like I said earlier, the steering is definitely a lot better. Another thing with these luxury cars, I mean, I've asked my dad if we should put an exhaust, or he should get an exhaust for this thing, because it has a V8 in it, and I mean, I have a feeling it definitely sounds nice with some. I mean, it wouldn't even have to be like a crazy, like, loud exhaust. Even something subtle would definitely kind of, I'm sure, open up the engine a little more, and also create like a noise that would be enjoyable to listen to. And I feel, you know, that'd be a good company idea or something like that. I'm sure there's companies out there that make exhaust for luxury cars, but that'd be something to, you know, look into. But I'm sure my dad's at a point kind of in his life where he's kind of done modifying cars. He's been modifying them ever since he was pretty much my age, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I mean, some type of modified exhaust luxury car company, or a luxury car exhaust company, that'd be something kind of cool. And I'm sure those that have luxury cars and would want to do a little bit something to their car, I'm sure they'd be open to that idea. See, there's a thing with luxury sports cars like AMG GTRs or GTSs. Those are really nice. I've never been in one, but when I see those things around, you know, it's kind of like a car that I'd want to have. You know, it's a nice, really nice looking car. Those things are pretty fast and they handle pretty well. Then another thing, with like these sports cars, where usually nowadays I'm sure sports cars are coming out with more horsepower, and you know, it's not really like a time now. You have production cars coming out with 600-700 horsepower, where you think about it back in the day, maybe 10-15 years ago, the most power you're going to get in a production muscle car was going to be like 300 or 350 back in like the early 2000s, if you weren't looking at like a GT500 or a Ford GT or something like that. But other thing I like about sports cars, you know, you can get, like I was talking about the exhaust, you can get the exhaust, open up the car, and, you know, if you want to kind of be able to hear your engine a little more, you can definitely do that with just a simple change. And then now they have those exhausts that have the valves. So say you are cruising, you can have the valves closed and be a little bit more chilled out. And then if you're kind of with your buddies or you want to have a little bit more fun, you can open up the valves and kind of go crazy while you want to. So yeah, that's another thing. So another thing about these luxury cars, like the AMG GTR, the GTR and the GTS. Other thing I like about like luxury cars, the four doors. I mean, they're a little bit bigger cars, but in a sense, I kind of like the bigger car. So you have more trunk space, you have more seating capacity to fit more people in the car. Like in the GTO, you have the two seats in the front, but basically, if you're anywhere older than maybe 5-6 years old, the back seats are pretty much useless unless you want to go back there and be crammed. But you know, in a luxury car, whether that be any luxury car, usually that's a sedan, you have the 4 seats open to pretty much anybody at any height. So like in the back seat of this car, I can definitely sit comfortably with no worries at all. And man, these people are driving slow. I think I kind of hit the points. This is almost like a video of me comparing this car to my car, which I mean wasn't the point, but I mean it wasn't the point to compare. I wasn't trying to mainly compare my car to this car, but I guess since I have this my dad's car and then my car at my disposal, and I've driven them plenty of times, I kind of know like the differences between the two. So yeah, I think that's about gonna wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like and put down in the comments what you thought about it, and if you have any comments about luxury cars or sports cars, like differences or comparisons between the two, which one you like more, which one you like less. If you're new here, please think about subscribing. It would mean a lot and it helps the channel out a ton. If you also subscribe while you're down there, just go ahead and hit the post notification bell right next to it to get notified when I upload a new video. And it's been Oscar, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.